To measure this, Francisco was once again in the dark about what was being done around him. Then, in the early morning hours of June 4th, 1629, the captain was sleeping in his bunk when the Batavia suddenly and violently came to a dead stop with a tremendous noise. Now, wrecking the ship was not part of the plan Adrian and Geronimus came up with. The intention of going off course was either to paint Francisco as an inept commander or buy themselves more time to come up with a better plan. What actually happened was the result of Adrian badly miscalculating dead reckoning for his new route, and the ship crashed into Morning Reef just off the coast of Western Australia in the Helpman and Brolos Islands. During the crash, a handful of crew, soldiers, and passengers ended up in the ocean in a cracked hull and were never seen again. These would be just the first of many to come. The Batavia, meanwhile, was damaged beyond repair, and its maiden voyage would be its last. In the immediate aftermath of the crash, the ship's longboats were deployed, crewmen started ferrying people to an island just to their northwest. By sunrise, around 180 people, including 30 women and children, were relatively safe on Beacon Island. That morning, Francisco ordered a search of the area for water and food, while he instructed others to salvage what they could from the ship. Unfortunately, all that could be collected were a few barrels of biscuits and some water. Estimates vary on the number of people who died in the wreck, but it's thought to be somewhere between 30 and 50, meaning that some biscuits and water weren't going to support the survival of more than 300 people for very long. And unfortunately, Beacon Island wasn't going to either. It was more of an outcropping than an island. It has an area of roughly 13 acres, and all of that area is basically just sand and small shrubs. And although it's part of a chain of 122 islands about 50 miles west of the Australian mainland, most of the chain looked more or less similar to Beacon Island. This meant that Francisco had to figure something out quickly, or they would all begin to starve. So with his senior officers, he came up with a plan to sail one of the longboats to mainland Australia to see if survival there would be any easier. The next night, Francisco led 48 people, including Adrian, back into the Indian Ocean on a course for Australia. The trip there was unremarkable, and Francisco organized the men for a search of the vicinity right away. Unfortunately, after hours of looking, the mainland wasn't much better, so Francisco had to make another decision. He could either return to Beacon Island and